Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Learn with Milo. So in today's video we'll be talking about the implementation of polymorphism for the third time. So this will be the third example on how to implement polymorphism in Python, which is about the concept of object-oriented programming, and it is quite beneficial for all the students who are at university level or maybe college or beyond that. They have to know how to implement this object-oriented programming concepts such as polymorphism inheritance in Python or in any other languages. So certainly this polymorphism allows objects of different classes to be treated as objects of a common base class. For example, poly means many and phism means the state. It means a person or anything can have multiple states. So for that we need to implement polymorphism in Python. In real life, that can be that a person can be at the same time a teacher, a friend, a good friend, or something like that. So first things first, we'll be implementing all this in Python. Suppose we'll be implementing the same example that we did for the inheritance. So we'll go for the class university member. This is our class university member, and then we've got a method called init method, which is working as a constructor is like other languages. And then we are going to just access this self.name equals to name, self.age equals to age, and then we are going to define another method as display info. Let's just check this one. Yes. And now what are we going to do is that we are going to return a statement here. Return, this is if, and then our statement name. So this is how we are going to do this name, and then we've got self dot name. The next one is age. So we'll go for the curly braces here, self dot age here. So we are going to just create a child class which inherits from the university member. So this is simple as that. As we did in the inheritance, we'll be having a class called student here, and then inheriting the parent university member. Then here we go with the colon, and then we are going to define the same method, init method, which is the constructor self, and then name, age, student ID, and then super dot init name, and then we've got age here. Then we are going to access this one, self dot student ID here, student underscore ID equals to student underscore ID, and we are going to define a method called display info, and then we are going to return a statement here, return f, and then the super dot display underscore info, the method to be called here. And then we are going to go for the student ID here now, student underscore ID. Then what we need to do is that we have to just access that one, self dot student ID, and the the interesting thing about polymorphism starts from here, that we'll be creating child class to inheriting from university members. So we have another class called professor, and then inheriting from the parent, which is university member. And then what we need to do is that we are going to define a constructor here in it, self. In here we've got name, the same, we've got age, and we've got employee ID. Instead of student ID, in here we've got employee ID. And the same statement that we typed in the previous class, we are going to do for this one as well in it. And we've got here name and age only. And then self dot employee ID equals to employee ID. And then we are going to define the same method as we did for the previous methods, display info, and then we are going to print a statement here. So we are going to return, what are we supposed to return here is these statements or the variables that we have already defined, and we want to access them. Super dot display info, and then what else is left? Employee ID. What is the employee ID? Self dot employee ID. That's it. And now what we need to do at last is that we'll be defining a function which will be demonstrating polymorphism for us. So for that we'll go and define this method, print member info. We'll be giving this name and we'll pass the member here. So what we need to do the next is that we'll be printing something like member dot display info. We'll be calling the display info method here. Simple as that. And now suppose if we've got an example here, student 1, we are going to make the object of this. Student 1 equals to student, and then what we have here is suppose Nilofer, and then age I will just simply give 23, and then student ID I will give 099, and then we'll go for professor 1, any name you would give, and professor, suppose we've got Dr. Mazhar, the HOD of our department here, and then suppose 45 years old, and then maybe the employee ID is P08 or P87, whatever. So now we are going to just print all this. Let me just check the name of the student here. Is the name same? STU? Yes, S has to be small here, small s here. Now it is correct. Now we are going to just simply print member info student 1, print member info professor 1, professor 1. Let's just check this one. I don't know what is wrong with this, but it seems to give error here. Student. All good. Let's just check the output and see what the output shows for us. I think it gives error here just because something might be missing here, or maybe the spelling of the names of these methods. Let me just go through some of them. Display info, then we've got student. Let's go for the capital one. University member, university member. sensitive in it. The file says there might be some, yes, only this mistake here. Now let's just check. Yes, just because of one bracket it gave error. So the name of the student that we had, that is Nilofer, age 23, student ID which is 099, and the teacher is the professor Dr. Mazhar, age 45, and the employee ID is P87. So yes, that's it for today's video. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. We'll be talking about encapsulation or some other topics related to Python programming, either in object-oriented programming or in any other concept. So yes, until then, happy coding everyone.